The night was too quiet. Only the low hum of the refrigerator and the flicker of an old ceiling light filled the empty gas station. Rafiq sat behind the counter, chin resting on his palm, staring at the clock above the door. 2:47 a.m., just a little more than 2 hours until sunrise. He hated the night shift, not because of the loneliness, but because of the sounds that came when everything should be silent. Sometimes he heard faint tapping on the glass door. Sometimes the shelves creaked like someone was walking down the aisle, but whenever he checked, nothing. At 3:02 a.m., the bell above the entrance dinged. Rafiq looked up immediately, but no one was there. The glass door swayed slightly, as if someone had just entered. "Hello?" His voice echoed weakly. Silence. He glanced at the CCTV monitor. For a moment it showed a shape, tall, still, standing between the aisles. Then static swallowed the screen. Rafiq frowned and tapped it, muttering, "Not again." When the feed returned, the figure was gone. But something had changed. The camera facing the counter now showed a second figure, standing right behind him. Rafiq's body went cold. He turned around slowly. Empty. The hum of the lights deepened, the flickering faster now, shadows crawling across the floor. He forced a shaky laugh. "Probably just lag," he said, though his voice trembled. He turned back to the monitor. All 4 cameras now showed himself, standing motionless behind the counter. In each screen, his reflection was smiling. The real Rafiq wasn't. His chest tightened. "What the hell?" He stepped away from the counter, but the reflections didn't move. They just stood there, staring straight into the lens, wide grins stretching unnaturally across their faces. Then one of the reflections moved. It tilted its head, slowly, and walked out from behind the counter on the screen. Rafiq turned, and for the first time, there was something behind him. A man, identical to him in every way, except for the eyes, black, empty, and shining under the fluorescent light. The duplicate smiled and whispered in a low, broken voice, "You shouldn't stand here." The light snapped off. Darkness swallowed everything. A faint struggle, a single scream, then silence. When the lights returned, the counter was empty. The camera showed only a still frame. Rafiq standing behind the counter again, calm, motionless. The next morning, the manager arrived. The door was locked from the inside. The cash register was closed, everything perfectly in place. He checked the CCTV footage. At 3:06 a.m., Rafiq could be seen talking to someone just off frame. Then the screen went white for 3 seconds. When it came back, someone was standing behind the counter, smiling at the camera. The manager paused the video. The man looked like Rafiq, but Rafiq was never found. If you ever work the night shift, make sure you know who's really behind the counter. Like and subscribe if you're brave enough for the next story. It was 2:31 a.m. when Saad pulled into the highway gas station. He'd been driving for 6 hours straight, eyes heavy, brain dull, radio dead silent. The station was small, a lonely rectangle of white light surrounded by black fields and cold fog. Only one pump flickered under the buzzing sign that read, "Open 24 hours." But there were no cars, no sound, no one at the counter. He parked beside the pump, stepped out, and looked around. The door to the mini-mart stood half open, its glass trembling slightly in the night wind. "Hello?" he called, voice echoing across the empty lot. No answer. He walked in. The lights hummed, bright but lifeless. The air smelled of dust and something faintly metallic. The cash register was open. The door behind the counter, leading to the back room, was cracked just enough to show darkness beyond. He waited, half expecting someone to appear. Instead, the old radio on the shelf flickered to life. A distorted voice whispered through static. "Pump 4? Waiting." Saad froze. He turned toward the window. His car was at pump 4. No one was there. But the nozzle was already inserted, the meter ticking slowly. Gas was pumping, by itself. His pulse spiked. He stepped back, ready to leave. But something in the reflection of the glass caught his eye. A man, faint, standing at the edge of the fog. The figure didn't move. Then the lights blinked once, and he was gone. Saad rushed to the counter, grabbing his phone. No signal. The radio whispered again, "You shouldn't have stopped." The words hissed through static like a breath in his ear. He turned and saw the office door behind the counter wide open now. A dim red light glowed from within. Something was standing in the doorway. It was tall, pale, and featureless, like a shadow pretending to be human. Its head tilted slightly as if studying him. Then, slowly, it lifted its arm and pointed toward the glass door. Saad spun around. Outside, another figure was standing beside his car. And another. And another. All facing the station, all motionless. The pump stopped with a sharp click. The silence that followed felt alive. Saad turned back toward the counter, but the pale figure was gone. The radio burst into static again. "We're open forever." The lights went out. When dawn came, a patrol officer found the car still at pump 4. The tank was full. The engine was running. The driver's door hung open, and inside the station, every shelf was empty, except for one thing on the counter, a handwritten note. It said in uneven letters, "Thank you for stopping. No one ever saw Saad again. If you ever find an empty gas station after midnight, keep driving. Like and subscribe before the lights go out."